Lights off, eyes closed. Your body is ready to sleep, but your mind suddenly decides it is showtime. Within seconds, you are no longer lying in bed. You are replaying that uncomfortable conversation from earlier, except now you know exactly what to say. Every sentence lands perfectly. Nobody interrupts you. And this time, you walk away feeling powerful. Or perhaps your mind creates something that has never happened at all. A future argument, a moment of success, a conversation with someone you care about. You direct every expression, rewrite every response, and replay the scene until it ends exactly the way you want. Most people call this overthinking, but these imaginary scenarios may be doing something much deeper. Your brain is not simply creating meaningless stories. It may be trying to process emotions, complete unfinished experiences, and prepare you for situations that feel uncertain. So why does this happen most often at night? And what are these mental movies really trying to give you? This is Mind Decoded, and today we are exploring the psychology of people who imagine fake scenarios before sleep. The moment the room becomes quiet, a subtle shift begins inside your brain. Throughout the day, your prefrontal cortex works constantly. This is the region involved in reasoning, decision-making, and self-control. It helps you remain professional when someone annoys you, stay silent when an argument would make things worse, and keep functioning when your emotions demand attention. But by bedtime, that logical system is tired. As you move from wakefulness towards sleep, you enter what researchers call the hypnagogic state. Your rational mind begins slowing down, while the emotional and memory-related parts of your brain may remain active. Now there are no emails to answer, conversations to follow, or tasks demanding your attention. With fewer distractions coming from the outside world, your attention turns inward. That is when the frustration, embarrassment, disappointment, and unspoken desires from the day can begin resurfacing. Because your logical mind is becoming less active, these feelings are not always processed through clear explanations. Instead, they appear through images, conversations, and stories. You do not simply think, "I felt ignored today." Your mind creates a scene in which everyone finally recognizes your value. You do not merely admit that a conversation hurt you. You replay it with a better response, a stronger voice, and an ending that feels fair. These scenarios are rarely as random as they appear. They often point towards something your mind believes is missing. Usually, that missing piece comes from one of three psychological needs. The first is the need to finish something that feels unresolved. You may forget what you ate last week, yet remember an upsetting sentence someone said years ago. The memory remains vivid because it never received a satisfying conclusion. Perhaps the conversation ended before you could explain yourself. Perhaps someone left without giving you an answer. Or maybe you discovered the perfect response several hours too late. The mind naturally seeks closure. It wants experiences to feel complete so it can stop returning to them. This resembles the Zeigarnik effect, the tendency to remember unfinished tasks or interrupted events more easily than completed ones. When real life does not offer an apology, an explanation, or a final word, imagination tries to provide one. Your mind rewinds the moment and gives you another opportunity to finish it. Replaying the scene does not automatically mean you are bitter. It may mean your brain is still trying to organize an emotional experience that never made sense. The second need is reward, recognition, and control. You imagine entering a room and immediately being noticed. You succeed in front of people who underestimated you. Someone you admire finally understands you, or a person who dismissed you realizes they were wrong. These scenarios feel satisfying, partly because anticipation itself can activate the brain's reward system. You do not need to achieve something in reality to experience a small emotional response from imagining it. And unlike real life, imagination gives you complete control. You choose your words. You control everyone's reactions. You decide how the story ends. If something goes badly, you can restart the scene and rewrite it. There is no rejection, awkward silence, or unpredictable response. Inside the scenario, the outcome is guaranteed. The third need is preparation. You may imagine tomorrow's meeting, an upcoming interview, or a difficult conversation you know you need to have. You test different opening lines, predict possible reactions, and mentally adjust your response. Cognitive science describes this as mental simulation. Your brain creates a private practice space where it can explore possible outcomes before you face the real situation. This may reduce uncertainty and help you feel less unprepared. But something more personal can also happen. Within these rehearsals, you experiment with another version of yourself. One who remains calm under pressure. One who establishes clear boundaries. One who finally says what you normally keep inside. That version is not necessarily fake. It may represent a way of responding that you have not yet felt confident enough to use. The problem begins when this useful mental tool becomes an automatic nighttime habit. At first, you may intentionally create a scenario because it feels comforting or helps distract you. But when this happens repeatedly, your brain begins connecting the bed, darkness, and silence with storytelling. Eventually, lying down becomes the cue that starts the mental movie. The scenario also provides an immediate reward. When you feel bored, lonely, worried, or emotionally uncomfortable, imagination gives your attention somewhere else to go. A dramatic conversation creates excitement. A fantasy of success offers relief. A perfect comeback produces temporary satisfaction. Your brain learns a simple pattern. When silence feels uncomfortable, create a story. Then, the loop begins feeding itself. Imagined arguments and exciting outcomes can produce real emotions. Your body becomes slightly more alert. Your muscles may tense, and your nervous system loses some of the calm it needs for sleep. This is known as pre-sleep cognitive arousal. The scenarios keep you awake, and being awake gives you more time to continue the scenarios. The longer the story becomes, the further sleep moves away. After enough repetition, the bed may begin to trigger wakefulness instead of rest. That is why telling yourself to just stop thinking rarely works. You are not dealing with one thought. You are dealing with a pattern your brain has practiced repeatedly. So how can you begin changing it? First, name what is happening. Instead of becoming frustrated, quietly tell yourself, "I'm replaying that conversation again," or "I'm worrying about tomorrow." Putting the experience into words creates distance between you and the thought. You are observing the scenario instead of automatically participating in it. Second, interrupt the storyline. Use a short, firm cue, such as, "Not now." You can pair it with a simple mental image, like a stop sign or a screen gently fading to black. The purpose is not to fight your mind. It is to mark the moment when you choose to stop following the story. Third, redirect your attention immediately. Do not leave an empty space for the old scenario to reclaim. Count 10 slow breaths. Focus on the sound of a fan. Notice the weight of the blanket, or picture one calm, unchanging place. Choose something neutral rather than emotionally exciting. Fourth, repeat the process patiently. Your mind will probably return to the scenario, especially during the first several nights. That does not mean the method has failed. Simply notice it, interrupt it, and redirect again. Each repetition teaches your brain a different response to nighttime silence. You can also set aside 15 minutes earlier in the day to write down unresolved concerns. This gives your mind a specific time to process them instead of carrying everything into bed. Changing a learned association can take several weeks. The goal is not to erase memories or eliminate imagination. It is to restore a boundary between processing problems and getting rest. A mind that creates detailed scenarios is not broken. It may be imaginative, emotionally sensitive, and highly motivated to prepare for uncertainty. It has simply learned to use a helpful ability at the wrong time. By noticing the loop and redirecting your attention, you remind your brain that the bed is not a courtroom for reviewing past mistakes or a meeting room for solving tomorrow's problems. It is a place to recover. What kind of scenario does your mind create most often? An unfinished argument, a future success, or something you are afraid might happen? Share your experience in the comments. If this video helped you understand your nighttime thoughts, like it and share it with someone whose mind also becomes louder after the lights go out. And subscribe to Mind Decoded as we continue uncovering the hidden patterns shaping the way you think, feel, and behave.